Hi Flosstube, welcome back to my channel, NBC Stitcher. I'm Matt and this is Augie, and today is Friday, November 12th, 2021, and it is a lovely, almost dark evening, not even 6 o'clock. Of course, we had daylight savings last weekend, so because of the way we consider time different now, it is dark a lot earlier. It's also winter and all that stuff, but yeah. So I am going out of town this weekend for most of it, so this is the best time to film. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. And I've got quite a bit. I've got quite a few whips to go through. I do have a new start for the Autumn Lane Witchery Sal, and I have a big amount of haul that has kind of all come in at once, or kind of like that. I've been purchasing some stuff. So, and then I have a few books to talk about at the end, so if you want to stick around for that, we'll go ahead and get started. So I want to say, first of all, thank you to everybody that is a new viewer. If this is your first time, welcome. If you have come back, thank you. And anybody that has left me a comment or liked the video or done any of that kind of stuff or sent me a message on Instagram, all that stuff, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I have, yesterday I posted up my tutorial of how to finish on my canvas frames, and I did it with this lovely piece. I'll show it to you a little later. But I hope that's helpful. It was on black fabric, and it's not always the easiest thing to see what I was doing, but I hope that gives you an idea. And please, please, please send me a message if you have any questions or anything along those lines. So that's that part, and I will... I also wanted to say there's been a couple comments on my last video, and then before, sometimes people comment with Augie's name, and apparently there are several cats that like to watch him through the TV. Inara is not the only one, which is, I find, fascinating. But we actually had an encounter with a cat last week when we were walking, that a cat came up to us in our neighborhood as we're walking around, as we do. And the cat just kind of like followed us for a while, and Augie was very confused, as was I. And then because it was around, this was before the daylight savings, and I mean, it was dark. It was like 8:30, and this cat just came across the street from the other way to where we were, behind us, and was like following us as we were walking down the street. It's kind of odd. So I think you must have some kind of like cat attraction to some of them, I guess. I don't know. Is that it? Is that it? Are you trying to get with cats? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of weird. But let's go ahead and get on into some of the everything. I'll start off with finishes, since this is right here. I have one FFO that I have completely finished. This I finished last year, but this is when there are 9. It is a pattern from Julie, Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. Her design label is Hemlock and Rye, and you can get this on her Gumroad. It is set up to where you can, her patterns are pay what you want. So you can pay her something, you can pay her nothing, but you know, several designers that are on there, Julie and Bart, Parkhopper Bart, that I know of. It's just a way for them to kind of use that. Well, I know Julie specifically said, you know, she's not trying to become a giant cross-stitch designer or like do this as a new way to, you know, replace her job or anything. So, but she enjoys it, and she enjoys giving, giving back to the community and her patterns. So, go check that out. It's a relatively simple pattern. What's up? I don't know. I mean, it's not a very complicated one. There are some long stitches in the cowl. I mean, it's all made of long stitches, so that takes a little bit of like, not cowl, coif, I think is, no, collar. I forget the name of it, but, and I did use a silk lame braid that is glow in the dark, and it is sparkly, a little bit of sparkle to it. So, or maybe it's just sparkly. Yeah, that is When There Are Nine, which is a reference to Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I recognize that it is backwards for you, but this is a quote from the Justice when she was asked by a reporter once, how many, when will there be enough, when will it be that there are enough women on the court, on the high court? And she said, when there are 9, because there's been so long with only men. After doing the video where I finished this, I added this emerald cording. I wanted to do that and just kind of played around with that. That's the first time I've used it. I ended up doing with tacky glue, and I had used some pins in there to kind of hold it while it dried, and then did that. So I'm pretty happy with it. And then it just goes on the wall. I think it's gonna stay there for now. There may be some other things that appear up here, but I'm gonna kind of move some stuff around or keep this as kind of my group of some of my ones that mean things to me and want to keep out for that reason. So yeah. Okay, I do also have a new start, which I'll go ahead and get to now. This is part of the Autumn Lane Witchery Sal, and I started Bewitched, which was a new pattern from Autumn Lane from the expo that they did, they participated in. And the, is that in there? It is. Okay, so this is the pattern, or a picture of the pattern, not the actual pattern, but this is what she'll look like. I am doing some color conversions, so she's not gonna look exactly like that, but I am doing this on a beautiful 36 count linen in Galaxy from Be Stitch Me, and it's opalescent. So this has been a little bit more of a challenge to me than other pieces. Some of the colors look like they're kind of blending in there, and they are to some extent, but I think it will stand out. And if it doesn't, you know, the way the pattern is, it's pretty much full coverage as a silhouette, and then so there's only like some colors that are on the outside. I think they're gonna stand out. If they don't, I will backstitch around it with white or something to help it kind of pop out. But that is how far I got. Nithya, Daybreak Stitchery, and I started the Autumn Lane Witchery Sal. And so it is, you know, stitch on any kind of spooky Halloween piece or anything that's from Autumn Lane. They have lots of witches. They have lots of other kinds of spooky patterns. Stitch on one of those and add that hashtag so we can all keep up and encourage everybody. So the next up, oh, and so what I'm changing, I will go ahead and talk a little bit about that because I have, I'm changing her to a little bit darker skin tone, and then I'm changing her hair from the orange to electric blue. So hopefully that works, and you'll see that as I get up there and do all that stuff. Another Autumn Lane piece, this is my first whip I'm gonna show you. This also is part of the Autumn Lane Witchery Sal now. This is Potions and Spells. This is my progress on there. Do I have that? I don't have it loaded up in there. So this is a piece of 32 count Lugana that was dyed by Jody of the Steel City Stitchers. And I won this in a giveaway from her more than a year ago. And then when it got here, this pattern had come out, and I was like, this is exactly what I need to use it for that. There's another pattern that I plan to use the other half for when I get to that, but yeah. And this is pretty much the called for. I have changed the magic swirl to a blue, and I've kind of played around with that, and I'm pretty happy with what I'm using now. Now the darkest blue there is an anchor floss that I pulled from the Michaels, the spools, that I really like. It's a little bit more teal than like electric, but to kind of like set it off from those other two, I think it's working. So I'm happy with this, and I will keep working on that. Even though Halloween is over, it's just not been, I'm gonna stitch on them more, but I'm feeling a little bit more fall and Christmassy, but I think I'm not gonna wait till next September or October to go back to Halloween. So speaking of fall, I have also been working on the Holiday Hangover Sal, which is another Autumn Lane piece. This is, oh, okay, well, this is Autumn Town from Autumn Lane Stitchery, and that's what it'll look like when it's done. I am doing this in the called for colors, threads, everything is called for. I am using also Jody fabric for the piece, and I'm stitching this along with Kristen of the Steel City Stitchers, who sent me my fabric. Jody dyed it for both of us, and then Kristen sent me half of it, half of the yard. This is also a 32 count Lugana, and this is a beautiful apple green. It's a little more green than that, but sometimes it's really hard to photograph this. But I made it all the way to this side. I pretty much did this tree, this house, this whole thing over here, and then kind of got to figure out where the edge was so I could come over and cut, so I could, because I have plans for the other part of this fabric. But I love this silk that is for this tree. There's another one up here. This is also a different Gloriana silk. There are two different Gloriana silk colors. There is a tree that I'm changing the color on, but I haven't got there yet. So far it's everything that's called for. And then I got a couple more pumpkins done and worked a little bit more on that, and then kind of outlined around these houses. And so if I want to fill in there, that's an easy thing to do. I did have a little boo-boo where I got a little off, and I've kind of like fudged it because I didn't want to, readjust. But I'm really happy with this. Yeah, it's a gorgeous piece. It's a lot of stitching, but it's nice. I enjoy it. And it's nice, something fall that's not really like Halloween-y, that I have enjoyed working on. But I did a lot of this last weekend. Got to that point on that. Okay, next up, I am also working on my Long Dog samplers, the pointed fifth, which I have officially changed my goal of trying to get done before leap day, the next leap day. Last 2 years ago, or well, I guess 2020, last year, but almost 2 years now, in February was leap day, and Erin Two Martini Stitcher started the Long Dog Leap Day Sal, where she was starting a long dog. I believe it's cardinal points, and the goal of like working on it every leap day, or starting it on leap day and then working on it on the 28th of every month with the goal of being done by next leap day. I am doing some of that. I did start something a little earlier than leap day. I started Castles in the Air. I enjoyed it. But I have started this project, and I love this one so much that I am like, this is what I want to keep working on. And to the point where I'm like, could I get this done by next leap day? It's going to be a thing if I do, because it's like several percentage points a month, and this thing is big. But this is what the actual pattern looks like. This pattern was also not out during the last leap day, but I am wanting to work on it. So I am way down here, kind of in this area, as you will see. And I have done the bottom part, I've done those all the way to that peacock, and then I'm kind of working my way up. I've gone up this way and kind of worked in here. I am using Silks for You PR 164, I believe, or 167, let me double check. 167, which is a nice rainbow color. So I'm using that as my border kind of main color, and then for the actual little vignettes or little images, I am using whatever kind of floss that I get that color that I want to, something that I like that. This castle reminds me a lot of the Castles in the Air pattern, and this is the silk that I'm using from Castles in the Air. So I used some of that to do that castle, and then for the most part, I'm using either another silk that I happen to already have, or some thread works that I have built up a stash of. I did purchase something for the house that's over here, some color that I hope to use for a brick effect on the house, but I haven't gone over there to stitch it yet. This needle minder is Katya, the drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7 All Stars 2, the Trixie and Katya show, and many other things. But the needle minder herself I got from Rebel Stitcher Designs, and I love, there's so much rainbow. I was like, this is very gay. I love it. It needs a drag queen on here. And I picked up a couple drag, her, and then I have a Miss Vanjie as well, another drag queen. And so, yeah, I love Katya, and so I needed her on here as well. So, yes. And I'm just kind of playing around, figuring out how I like to work with the different colors, and kind of work out the color pooling, but I'm really enjoying this. This is a 36 count vintage country mocha linen. It is a half yard. It seems a little bit loose, and it may actually be closer to 32. It's supposed to be 36, and that's what I tried to buy. But when I counted it, it seems a little closer to 32. And it's not hand dyed, so it's not like shrunk. But that's the other reason why I'm kind of like working my way up, because this is the short way of the fabric. And so I want to make sure I actually have space, and don't have to redo this some other time. I could count it, but I'm almost to the point of the halfway mark that's kind of coming up. So I'm trying to make that happen, and then that'll give me an idea. But Castles in the Air, Pointed Fifth, which is the translation. It's I don't remember the Romance language, what it's in. I think it may be French, but I'm not sure. But it's beautiful. I love this piece, and I love enjoying working on it, and continuing to make my progress. I believe I am at, let me check. So I can show you this on Pattern Keeper. Let's see. My Pointed Fifth. Let's see. Okay, so I am at 9.72%, which is pretty good. I've done 6,557 stitches, and this is where I'm at of like what's stitched. So you can see that in the piece. But obviously it's colorful and not just a gray. But I love Pattern Keeper, and I wish every pattern was easily compatible with Pattern Keeper. They aren't all, but I really enjoy them that are. So, yes. Next up is another Autumn Lane piece, because I have not pulled my Christmas decorations out or my Christmas tree or any of that stuff. I know people that have. My family's tradition has always been to do it after Thanksgiving, and I don't really want to change from that. So But I am starting to work on some Christmas stitching, like Christmas themed patterns. And I purchased a couple more things that I want to do for Christmas, or not for this year, but like add to my Christmas decor that I can use. So let's see, where am I going? That's the app. So first up, let's talk about Woodland Santa. So this is an Autumn Lane Stitchery piece. It's been out for a couple years, but I started this last Christmas time. Here's Santa. This way it looks like. It's kind of a little different style. It's a little bit more folk arty, but I really enjoy it. It is very much full coverage. There's a lot to it, but I enjoy working on this quite a bit. So I have done pretty much everything below here. There was some of this part was done, and then any of this light green. All this bright red down here, and the black, this yellow, and then most of the darker red. I've all done this since I picked this up. So I love this piece. Last year I was working on it, and even into the beginning of this year, and then I got like, I really wanted to get his lantern done, and I got his face done, and his face and like beard and everything. And so I'm kind of filling this in. His coat is coming along, and kind of come down here, work on his boots some. But yeah, I love this piece a lot. This is on an 18 count Aida from Picture This Plus. Jade is the name of it, so it's a light green. I think the closest green that could clash is the one that's in there, and so you see that it's very visible. So I'm not worried at all of any of the colors or anything, but yeah, it's very pretty, and I will be enjoying to continue to work on that this Christmas. Here's the colors you can see. So it's a beautiful set of all DMC, and it's just beautiful. Aaron is amazing with his color usage, and their Autumn Lane pieces are dense, but they're worth it. So I love them. I've got that, and then okay, I've worked on another Christmas another Christmas stitch as well, and that is not an Autumn Lane piece, but this is Winter Deer by Stitcherovia. Oh, that's just the picture or the pattern. Here's black and white of what it'll look like, so you can see that. And I am here on this. So honestly, since the last time I showed this, well, shoot. I can't remember if my last video I showed this and then I worked on it with Catherine or not. So I'm going to talk about it like I didn't. This may be a repeat, but Catherine Paper Crane Stitches, who is also doing the Holiday Hangover Sal with Kristen and I of Autumn Town. She was messaging me and was like, hey, I'm going to start this. Or I think it was in our group chat, but and I was like, oh, I have that started. I just haven't worked on it much recently. And she's like, I didn't even know you had it. So I pulled it out and worked on it a day with her when she started it. I kind of worked mostly on the deer here and kind of got some other stuff. I finished in some of this stuff, and I'm kind of working my way down here with this color to kind of outline, and then I can fill it back in. But this is on a beautiful, I did talk about this last time because there were these trees. I remember that now. I remember the comments. So there, I just remembered something else that I completely missed earlier. Okay, so this is an 18 count Aida. It's from Be Stitch Me. It's a gray, it's kind of a light blue gray, but it's more gray in real life. It seems like it's a little more blue in the picture, but it doesn't have a name. I believe I got it from Friday Night Fight Night at some point, and It kind of, I think it might be Huntress. Her Huntress is a gray, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. It didn't actually have a name, but this needle minder is from Space Cat Crafting. I got that from her a while ago, and I just really enjoy this piece. So I'm going to continue to work on this as well, and this will be part of my continue to work. It's actually probably one of my older whips, because I know I also worked on this last year at Thanksgiving. No, Christmas. We did a Zoom Christmas, and last Thanksgiving, I've got here in Tulsa, my parents live here, or my mom and stepdad. My grandparents live here as well, and I have an aunt and uncle that live here, and some other family in this area. And then a lot of my cousins and aunt and uncles are across the country. And so for Thanksgiving, we did a thing where we still like cooked for each other and then divvied up portions and met and traded food. And so like that was fun to do. We tried to do Zoom, but my grandparents couldn't get it to work. So we did the same thing at Christmas, but we had more people here. And then we were making food and then divvied it up. And then gifts as well. But we did a trial run on the Zoom on Christmas Eve. And so Granny and Granddad, it worked. That's great. Also, at Christmas, my aunt and uncle that lived next door to my grandparents were there. So they could have helped at that point as well. But we also I sent out the Zoom invitation to all of my cousins and my aunts and uncles. So we had about 22, 23 people total that were on the Zoom throughout the time we were kind of like meeting up and saying hi and everything, and a couple dogs as well. But I was the host, and so I couldn't like end the meeting because some of my dad and mom were talking to my aunts and uncles, some of them. So I was like, okay, well, like at one point I was like, okay, well, I've already cleaned up in here. I took Augie for a walk, left my computer gone. I came back and I cross-stitched while they were talking because I didn't want to just like randomly do that. But it's almost like it was on virtual stitchers, but not. But I worked on Winter Deer at that time. So I remember I had it, I was at least working on it back then, but I'm pretty sure I started this like the beginning of 2020. I have 2 more pieces to show, and they are big full coverage pieces. So I'm going to show on Pattern Keeper let's see. Let's do this. Oh, before I forget. So one thing that I remembered, I didn't say this, but I meant to. So a couple people have messaged or left comments about Augie, and have been like, I hope I'm spelling his name right. So the way I spell his name is Augi. It's a very weird spelling. It's not normal. His name is Augustus, as in the Roman emperor. And so I shortened that to Augi, even though that's not like a normal spelling of Augie, but that's how I spell it. He answers to the name, so however it is, he doesn't have a preference, and like, he's not gonna know. But you know, everybody, whatever way you spell it, I'm gonna know. As long as I can understand that it's Augie that you're saying, you're great. So don't worry about that. I do appreciate any of that. But yeah, technically his name, the way I spell it, his nickname is Augi. But you do not need to use that necessarily. Okay, so first up, let's talk about So one of my whip go goals for November is to get another 8,000 stitches in on my full coverages. And these are Heaven and Earth full cover or big projects. The only two that I have going are Heaven and Earth designs, but I do own some others. I don't plan on starting them anytime soon, but I own more. And I was just kind of thinking about another one, but I think I may just be kind of thinking it. But okay, first up, this is Intimate Encounter from Heaven and Earth Design. And this is a depiction of the god Pan, who is on the ground, and then the Fey Lord Hearn, the leader of the Wild Hunt. I'm not as familiar with the actual mythological traditions of the Fae and Fairy. I've just read a lot of urban fantasy, and so they've kind of done different things with him. So I'm not sure what, is he a god? Is he a demigod? Or how that kind of breaks down, or if there's really that big of a difference. But the art is by Sandra Santera, and then it is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This was not available on Haid for quite some time, but it is back up there. So you can go get it if that is something, or you can get it the next time there's a sale. I was like, ooh, I would like something that's kind of a little risque, but also gay. And so this was something I saw and definitely picked that up. Okay, and I'm doing this on a 28 count even weave that is pre-gridded, and I am doing it 2/1 and a 10 stitch. And I am doing pretty darn good. You can see I've kind of filled in the rest of this diagonal that I'm working on, and then just kind of gone beyond that a little bit. I've got some more little stitches to do, but I've done quite a bit on this. The hand is quite visible. His hand is out here cupped. I don't think that's quite was seen in the actual screen grab that I have, but that's Pan's hand. And then I will have beyond that, it kind of goes into there. But I am parking, and am kind of playing around with that some more and just kind of going from there. So yeah, that's that one. Yep, I enjoy it. And so I am, on this one, I am at 2.49%, and I've done 6,615 stitches. So that's how far I am. You can see the little bit of the hand, and I quite enjoy Pattern Keeper being able to see all that. Okay, next up, we've got Amy Stewart's Once Upon a Fairy Tale. And a lot of people are doing this one. I am doing the normal size. I'm not doing the max color or the super size max color or anything along those lines. It's just the original. But this is the art that it's based off of. Again, I'm starting down here in this corner. And I'm kind of got a good amount done, but not as much on this one. So this is, again, 28 count pre-gridded fabric, and I'm doing it 2/1 10 stitch and working in the diagonal. So I was kind of working, there's a lot more different colors in this section here than what I'm working with in the other one. So I had I worked on working on some of the ones that I had parked. And then I got up here and I realized, oh, I didn't finish that diagonal up there. I need to go up there and work on that. So that's actually what I'll work on next before I finish kind of working my way up this diagonal. But yep, I really do enjoy it. And yeah, so on this one, I am 1.05% and I have 4,238 stitches. So a little different, but as you can see, that's where I'm at with not a whole lot to see there. But there's kind of you can see there's a little stall. I think it's actually looks pretty, you can see, there's the overhang. There's a little cart right here, which actually looks pretty You can see it pretty good when you look at it. And then kind of like the edge, and then there's some water down here. So I have been enjoying this, but I'm not consistent working on these, and I would like to do that more this next year. So either one or both. I'm not sure I'm ready to start another one, but I may change my mind. I have worked on kitting another one up, but that would be a lot. So yeah, we'll see. But that is the end of my current set of what I've worked on and able to talk about. I do have some floss tubers that I wanted to give a shout out to. So aside from the people I've already kind of referenced as I've gone through stuff, excuse me, I would like to give a shout out to Alexis, My Amazing World. She is had started the Dark Queen support group and put me in it, and very helpful, and she's amazing, and she has started her own floss tube. I mentioned her before, but she's got, I think, episode 4 or 5 now, and her wife joins her for a couple of the episodes. They're great. They're amazing. Go check her out. And Autumn Lane Stitchery. I mean, I've been working on a lot of their different patterns. They have their own floss tube, Erin and Cassandra. Go watch that. The last one, Erin goes through a bunch of the art from some of the pieces that he released for the expo. And so that was really cool to see. I'd also like you all to go check out Denise at Black Ribbon Studio. Denise is great. She stitches a whole lot of different stuff, and always very beautiful and very nice, and she leaves amazing comments watching your videos too. So please go watch Denise. She's great. Go check her out. And Rolodex Stitcher, Carla, another great stitcher. She does more on the monthly schedule, but she has a lot of great stitches, and she works on a lot of different. She participated in our Autumn Lane Witchery Sal. I bugged her. I was like, hey, would you do this? You could work on this one you've already started. You don't have to start something new. And she's like, oh no, I'm starting something new. So it's gorgeous. Go check her out. I don't know that she's done a video since then, but go check her out. She's great. And Jessica, Rainy Day Stitcher. She has a floss tube. She's one of my friends from Virtual Stitchers, and we are going to be working on something together this next week, I think. In the next couple weeks. I need to look that up. But she is great. Go give her a watch and follow her as well. So I'm going to get into haul now, and it's kind of a lot because I've purchased quite a bit of things. And some stuff took a while to get here, and then some stuff got here really fast. So, I don't all buy this stuff at the same time, but, Okay, first up, and this is in no particular order, I purchased some silk hanks from Silks For You. When I was working on Pointed Fifth, I have a hank of that rainbow silk, and then somebody else had started this, Tiffany. I don't think she has a floss tube, but she's on Virtual Stitchers, and she had started Pointed Fifth and was also, yeah, you need this amount of length. And I was like, oh crap, I don't have that much. Now I'm using a lot of other colors. I probably won't actually need to go into a second hank, but in case, I don't want to be in a situation where I don't have it. And I mean, they can be a little different. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get another hank. I love the rainbow effect, and I will use it on other projects, even if I don't need it on this one. But that was one of the things that I got. So I bought a hank of PR 167. And so this one has a little bit more yellow to it. I've actually used a little bit of this on my piece, but it's still works great. So, but when I was braiding it and cutting it, I kind of had an extra piece that it I seem to catch those. So I don't know what it is the way I'm doing it, but So I take the hank and then I cut it in one spot, and then I braid it and put rubber bands on each end and add a little tag. So like, this is what it is. And then you can kind of pull one strand out. But this is a gorgeous piece of silk, hank, and they are amazing. So the reason why I bought multiple hanks and the amount that I got was, well, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. If you get 5, you get another one free. It's like, I did that a while ago. I really enjoy them. I'm gonna use these. So I also saw this variegated red, which this is PR 126. And this, I was like, I need a variegated red that I can use for just like something that I'm not sure exactly what yet, but I'm going to find something. And this was like, yes, I need this. I love this color. It's gorgeous. So this was a must. Amazing. 126. I already have some white, but I have kind of like, I have a project that's going to take a lot of it, and I've kind of kitted up some other things with it. It's like, would love some more white, so I purchased another hank of the white silk. They also have natural, so it's not as bright as this, but it's a little thicker than DMC, so you get a really nice coverage with this. That was the other reason. So white, I haven't cut all of these. I haven't done all the braiding and done all that, but I also was like, hey, what about a black? So I picked up their black as well, and this is PR 70. They have another one that's kind of a little bit more charcoaly, but I liked this, picked this up. So black, I saw blue. I don't think this is the blue I already have, because this is PR 75, and I think I have 50. But it's another bright blue. It's gorgeous. I love it. It doesn't have much variegation to it, but it is really pretty. And then this one I just liked. So it is PR 180, and it's a teal and orange kind of variegation to it. So I really like it. I got that one. Yeah. So. Probably won't order any more silk from them for a while because I have pretty much all I need. This came in today. That has been here a little bit. This week I got it, but the shipping was actually pretty quick turnaround. So I ordered it within the last 3 weeks, and then it came this week, Monday, Tuesday, early this week, I think. But another very fast shipper I received is from Carla at Cobweb Corner. She does stuff with Steel City Stitchers. They give away patterns from her, and she has a lot of different patterns and everything. So I had kind of checked out her site before. I think I purchased from her before one other time. So I was kind of looking, and I wanted to get this Nora Corbett. It's the Witching Pixies Electra, which is the kind of like the jack-o'-lantern-y one. And so I wanted this one. I have several of these, but this one kind of really was like that. I would want to do that one, probably one of the first ones that I do of this series. So I got the pattern and then the bead pack, very reasonable price. She had both of them. And then I wanted to, no pattern can travel alone. I also picked up Quakers in Japan from Tempting Tangles, which I have been seeing this several places and wanted to pick this up. So it's a beautiful piece, and I would like to do that one as well at some point. And I think it was very quick. Does it have so long? I ordered this on the 8th. It arrived today, the 12th. So, and when I say the 8th, it was like that evening. So she was super fast. Yeah. Oh, this is my, yeah. Silks for You. Okay, I have received my Jody Fabric of the Month for November. And I have been getting a 32 count Lugana. I have changed that. I will be getting something different in the future, not because there's anything wrong with these. I've got a lot of Lugana and I need something more. So, you get 2 8s, and I got this lovely gray, which is really nice. And this like almost corally pink, which is also beautiful. Love that as well. So those are amazing. Oh, I did get this lovely needle minder as well. You can't really see that. From Silks for You. That was great. Okay. Brandy has done her Friday night fight nights the last 2 weekends. I have participated. Maybe a little more than I should have, but I did. So 2 weeks ago, she had one of my favorite colors, Autumn, and then and so I snagged a couple pieces of it because it's beautiful and I love it. I went with linen, and these are both 36 count linens, and so I love this fabric. It's one of my favorites. So I didn't have it in linen, at least not this way. And so got that one, and then this one. It's also beautiful. I love both of these. So that is Autumn. One of her beautiful fabrics. It's on the website if you want to order this. I've ordered it before. It's great. And then Pumpkin Patch, which I believe was the fabric of the month a couple months ago, maybe October. And I got it in a Jobelin, and so I got this linen as well. And this is just amazing, isn't it? It's so good. So good. It's just beautiful. It looks like it's like a batik or something. Not quite, but like, it doesn't look like cross stitch fabric. I mean, you just put this in a frame. No, I will actually put something on it, but it is amazing. I love her fabric so much. Thank you for letting me purchase your stuff and taking all my money. These I have shown before, but I forgot last time to show 2 of my new pieces or new patterns that I picked up from Garon. First of all, these are both Nora Corbett's, 2 of their new Bewitching Pixies. And this is Masked Mischief, which I really enjoyed. And then Witching Hour. So both of those I picked up. The Pixies are smaller than the Mirabilias. The Nora Corbetts are. So they're about like half the size. So they're a lot easier to manage. But yeah, you should check them out sometime. Okay, I did get my fabric of the month from Bee Stitch Me for, well, I guess it was October. Then Pumpkin Patch I think was in September, but it comes at the end of the month, so it's kind of like almost for the next month. Anyway, and I switched up to getting 36 count linen on the colorful and then continued to get Jobelin on the neutral. This is Cardinal. It is gorgeous. This is a beautiful, beautiful red that you can do so many Christmas patterns on. Like, it's just amazing. I love this piece so much. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but it's going to be great. Cardinal, 36 count linen. And then Vintage was the neutral, and it's a nice little subtle color, and I got it in the 32 count Jobelin. Amazing. So yeah. And then, okay, R&B. Okay, this is Fortnite Fabrics. I've been getting the Famous Duos. This year was one of their clubs, and so it's like multicolored. And this is Rocky and Bullwinkle. And this is a 32 count Lugana. So again, very beautiful fabric. I know I have a problem with fabric, but it is what it is. Okay. Jessica, Rainy Day Stitcher, had an amazing idea. We both purchased this at the expo, Cleopatra, and we were kind of talking like, oh, we need to start this. We're gonna stitch it together, or sal it. And it's bendy stitchy. It's part of the Meow the Merrier, and it's a very much like Cleopatra / Bast, I think, kind of combination there. And we were kind of looking around, and Jessica had the amazing idea to stitch it on something that looks like papyrus. And there were a couple things we found online, but the pictures weren't great, so I don't know, I couldn't really trust it. She had the idea, why don't I try printing using my inkjet printer on a piece of Aida? And she did it, and it's amazing. And I was like, oh my God, that's so good. And then she sent me a piece too. So this is what she printed. It's so good. I love it. I mean, obviously it's on one side, and don't wash it or anything. But yeah, it's papyrus printed on Aida. Now it's 14 count Aida, so I haven't stitched on 14 count Aida in a while, but it's gonna be great. I'm so excited for that. It's gonna be good. Okay. A couple weeks ago, my friend Cheryl, Blue Nose Stitcher on Instagram, and she's my friend on Virtual Stitchers. She had a birthday, and we met up, and I could give her birthday present. And then she's like, well, actually, her husband gave her a gift card or gift certificate to Silver Needle. Why don't we meet there? So we met there, I gave her stuff, and then we went shopping. So I picked up some things. So I was looking for a color to be the brick in my pointed fifth, that house. And so I picked up a couple of options. I think I'm gonna go with this one, which is Campfire from Classic Colorworks, but I'm not 100% sure yet. It's either this one. I've also got Apple Fritter from Classic Colorworks, which has a wider variegation. And so I like that aspect. And then I've also got Cherry Bark, which is a nice, really beautiful color too. I also picked up Pomegranate. Oh, and Cherry Bark is from the Gentle Art, or Gast. And I also picked up Pomegranate. This is not for that, but it's for another project. And they had it. I was like, oh, good. So I picked it up. So I'm excited to use some of that. And then we went over to their fabric area, and they had this beautiful fabric. And I was like, hey, what's that? And they pulled it out. We looked at it. She got a fat quarter, and I got a fat quarter as well. And it is 32 count linen. It is Woodland by Picture This Plus. And it's this beautiful green. Isn't it so good? It's like Herald, but it's kind of more, it doesn't have the variegation, or the modeling is not quite the same. It's a little different. So it's kind of, I think it's more of like a dark model, but it's beautiful. I love this piece I love this fabric. So I have some ideas for this. And the white silk is part of it. So that's definitely a thing. But it's gorgeous. It's great. Last, I have my Threadworks from 3 All Threads, my nest egg that I get. So I get 10 skeins of 20-yard Threadworks. And so I'll just go through the colors. So first up, we have, the number is 1049, and the color is called Parrot Bay. It's a beautiful green. 1062, this is Pastel Sunset. Beautiful. 1087. Peppermint. Really pretty red and white variegation. 1094. This is Party Time, and it is a beautiful variegated kind of pink, orange, and purple and white. 1054 Pacific Island. So this is like kind of like a lavender and light seafoam green variegated floss color variation. That's maybe what I was looking for. 1110 Peach Sherbet, and so this is a very subtle kind of peachy color. It's coming way more. It's not that bright. 1102. This is Peony. It's kind of like a taupe and pink combination. 10930. So this is Peaches and Cream, and it's a beautiful peachy color. 1074 Peach Ice, a nice little peachy color as well. And then 1078, this is Pastel Bouquet, and it is a variegated pastel rainbow essentially. But those are those, and that's all of my haul. So I enjoyed that. No, it was closed. Okay, sorry. I have a window down here, and it kind of seemed like it was open on the other side of the screen, but it wasn't. Sorry. Okay, so book talk. I have two books that I finished in the last 3 weeks, which seems like not a lot, but one of them was giant. So, and I'm almost done with another one. I just haven't quite finished it, so I'm not going to talk about it yet. But I finished, oh, I don't have a picture. Okay, it's called The Last Graduate. It is book 2 in the Scholomance series by Naomi Novik. The first one, which was The Deadly School, no. Oh, now I can't remember. Oh, here's The Last Graduate. I do have a picture. Okay, so this is what the cover looks like. But it's a young adult book series. The main character, Elle, she's Galadriel is her name, but she goes by Elle. She is a student in this magic school. So in this world, which is our world, but like there's another level of magic that's going on that the normal people don't know about. There are wizards, and then there is a there are magical creatures that try to eat wizards. Wizards collect mana and can use that to do spells and you do magic. They can also use something called Malia, which is like mana, except instead of built by their own creation or given freely, it is taken from other entities. People, animals, that kind of stuff. And so that's like wizards that use that are known as maleficers, and then regular wizards are just like mana users. But there are creatures called Maleficaria that eat mana, eat wizards, try to kill them to consume their mana and everything. And particularly adolescent wizards are very susceptible, very attractive to these different creatures, to the point where most wizards, or a lot of wizards, live in communities together to kind of guard against these in like kind of pocket dimensions where they can hide out from the Maleficaria. The wizarding world has created a school to send their children to, or the majority of their children. A lot of kids, depending on where you're born, those kids always get in, and then there's kind of like groups of part of the world where only some of them get in. And, you know, racism. This has been going on for a couple hundred years. Now there are no teachers in the school, but it is like there are monsters there, and the students kind of spend 4 years learning from the school. The school like gives them more like magical spells as they master stuff and kind of progress through the years. And then at the end of their senior year, there's a big graduation event where the students have to make it through the graduation hall and then exit out the gates. And there's a whole bunch of monsters there. And so the last book dealt with the main character, Elle, and then Orion is the other main character. They are juniors. And Elle is, most people think she is a Maleficer. She isn't. And in fact, she generally only uses mana. She does not come from a community of wizards. Her mom lives in a kind of like a hippie community and has kind of done that for a while, for all of her life for the most part. And so she has that. On the other hand, and like her kind of affinity for magic is generally big, very mana expensive spells, but they do big things that are kind of like she could create like a nuclear explosion or set off something like that, but she wouldn't be able to just like open a bottle or it's a lot harder for her to do something that very simple. She is like big, important, big magic is her kind of affinity. And generally a lot of those things are big destructive things, and she doesn't really want to do destructive things because she's not a Maleficer. And then you have Orion, who he has an ability to kind of drain mana from the monsters, and then use that to like cast spells and do everything and kind of have this odd relationship. He is from the Enclave, which is like the wizarding community from New York, which is one of the most powerful wizarding communities in the world at this point. And she is from Wales, and she is, her mom is Welsh. Her dad was Indian, and he died during graduation of her dad and her mom's senior year. While they were trying to graduate, she got out. Her mom was pregnant with her. I don't know if she knew at the time, but she tried to get out, and then or he sacrificed himself so she could get out, I think, essentially along those lines. But yeah, that's kind of like the basic storyline. They have been in school, Orion and Elle, and then the first book covers their junior year, and then the final graduation of that senior class, and then now it's their turn to graduate, and the school's been doing some weird things, and so they try to figure out what's going on and what they can do to try and graduate, survive, and do that. And so it's a really good book. Now, Elle is not the most. She is one of those characters that is very negative, but not really negative. Like, she puts on a negative face, but she's really not negative. And that can be kind of annoying. And she kind of annoyed me in the first book, but and then at the beginning of this book, I was like, oh, she's really annoying me again. It's like, well, I knew that going in here. Maybe I'm just kind of taking this the wrong way, or like letting her annoy me. And then she didn't really annoy me for the rest of the book. But she's negative, but I just kind of got over it. And then the other thing, though, not a spoiler, but this book ends on a very, very hard cliffhanger. I'm assuming will be a third book, but the way this ends, it is very much a cliffhanger, and you don't know what's going on. The first book kind of ends in a cliffhanger that you don't understand what's happening. Like there's something there, there's a hook, but it's not anything compared to this one. So if you are somebody that does not like a big cliffhanger, I would wait. Naomi Novik. This book came out within 2 years of the first one, or about 2 years later. So I would imagine that it would not take that much longer. Naomi has written a lot of things, so this is not like she's had this saved up, but maybe she had this one, or I don't know. But I really enjoy her books, and this series is no different. There was some controversy, especially with the first one. There were a few passages that were called out as being racist in some ways. So the author is white, and the character she's writing, Elle, is half Asian or half Indian and half Welsh. But also Elle has been pretty much raised by her mother, and doesn't have a big connection to her Indian side of her family. And what she does have has not been a good experience. So I don't really have much of I don't really care one way or the other, because not to say that, I don't have, I'm a white person, so me commenting on whether she was racist or she wasn't is kind of not my thing to do. But I think that the author, the passages that were problematic were related to some discussion of hairstyles, and specifically the dread hairstyle used by some people, and then in this world that there were some issues with different monsters taking advantage of that, and it came across as kind of implying that dreads are dirty, and there's a big long history of why that is not something that you should do, and I think it was more emblematic. It was not intentional by the author to do that, in the sense of, I don't think she was trying to be racist with creating that aspect of this world. I also think it was emblematic that there are obviously not people of color that were really participating in the editing of this book. And I think if that had happened, and then that would obviously, have been something that could have been solved doing that versus, something else. But I've enjoyed The Last Graduate. The one thing that I'm annoyed by is it is a very hard cliffhanger, and so I am eagerly waiting for the next one. Next up, I finished a reread of a book that I love and a series that I love. I reread The Eye of the World, Book 1 of The Wheel of Time. This series is going to be a show on Amazon. It's starting on November 19th, so like a week. And I'm very excited because I love The Wheel of Time. I loved this as a young high schooler, adult, into college. This actually finished. The last book was published when I was in law school. Sadly, the author passed away before that, but Brandon Sanderson, another author that I love, was able to finish up The Wheel of Time. There was supposed to be one book, but it was so much that he had to split it into 3 books. But it was using Robert Jordan's notes, and then his editor/wife helped Brandon finish out The Wheel of Time into the 14-book series that it is. 15 actually, I think, with New Spring. So there's also a prequel called New Spring that came out several books in, and it is also good. I'm very excited about the show. There have been several teasers and trailers, and I think it looks really good. So a couple things people have kind of mentioned, and just because I have a familiarity with it, I wanted to say some things. So like some people have said, oh, it looks very colorful and very bright, and also the people look like they're wearing clothes that are not really fantasy or medieval timesy. So the Wheel of Time itself is set in a future world that has gone through an apocalypse and then kind of rebuilt itself to the point of where it is in medieval type of level of technology for the most part. They do have a magic system, but like, because these people have gone from really like a futuristic utopian society that they refer to as the Age of Legends to where they are now, where they are back to, wool and cotton and making things, no synthetic fibers or that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's different, but they do, so some of the choices for the characters' dress, they're wearing very vibrant colors. That's not really what's depicted in the world. There are colorful people in this world. And I think they're amplifying it to kind of be different than like Game of Thrones. But also in the like cut of the dresses seem very modern or very like futuristic. But that also makes sense too, because this is a world that has gone from the future back to like the Stone Age, or not quite, but they've gone through stuff. But the thing that I am not sure about from the way it's depicted in the trailers is how they're showing the magic system, which is called channeling. It is not how I would depict it. It's not how I think of it when I've like pictured it in my head reading the books. But I also typically picture this as more of like a cartoon style than like real life, because it's so magic and fantasy. It's easier to kind of picture it as a cartoon more than like realistic. And so maybe I'm not mad at it. It's just not how I would have done it, but I'm very interested to see what they're doing. They've also done some stuff, some changes that I'm very happy with and very excited to see how they're kind of reflecting this. They have changed up the story some. They brought some characters up earlier than they show up in the books, and I'm just excited to see this world that they're creating or imagining in this format. So basic story is the main characters are a group of villagers from the town Emmons Field, which is kind of like a backwater part of this world. Here, let me show you this. So kind of most of this story takes place in what they call the Westlands or the Wetlands. And so like there's this big mountain range called the Spine of the World, and everything over here and south of this area called the Blight. So there's lots of different countries, and the two rivers, which is where our Emmons Field is, kind of over here. So there's some mountains here. They're kind of at the base of the mountains and in this area. This is basically there's some few village boys and women that instead of having like Gandalf show up and say like, you've got to go on an adventure, it's a woman named Moraine who is an Aes Sedai, a magic user. Okay, so maybe I should explain this. So in this world, in the past, men and women have both been able to use magic without consequence. Something happened in the past that has made it so that men who use magic, channeling, they will go insane, and then they will hurt those around them and themselves until they destroy themselves. That's what caused the apocalypse before. but women can still use magic, but they are not trusted by all of the world because misogyny is still a thing. But kind of one of the things that Robert Jordan did was he swapped this around of, not having an old man show up, but you have a woman that is a wizard showing up and, saying, hey, you boys, you're really important. We need to, and Egwene and Nynaeve, y'all are important. So I need you to come with me. We need to go save the world. That kind of thing. That's kind of like the basic story. This book specifically is an homage to the Fellowship of the Ring and kind of like the adventure story of having like a group of friends leaving home to go on this adventure. It's very Tolkien-esque, but the main story, the majority of the books are not like that, or not as much of this. This story is not shown that way throughout all of them. So it's just kind of different. But you also have her warder, Lan, who you can see here. This is Moraine and Lan. And they, Lan is a warder. He is bonded to Moraine, and he is kind of like one of the best fighters in the world. Like non-magic, he doesn't use magic. He just is a sword fighter. Well, more than a sword fighter, but they have a bond together. And so there's all sorts of dangers in this world. The Dark One is trying to find these boys and women and kind of use them to help destroy the world. On the other side, there is the forces of light that are trying to not be destroyed. And so it's a very interesting story, and I really enjoy this series. And there's a lot of like political intrigue through it and different cultures. Now, since technically it is like Earth, but in the future, but it's unrecognizable Earth, but there's like glimmers of Earth past. So some creatures or some terms kind of have similarities to religious names or things like that. And so there's an element of like, oh, that's kind of related. But it's not really like, he's not writing about this, people from Africa or people from Europe or that kind of stuff. Now there are like kind of, those people look like this, or this, the people in this country kind of do that thing, and kind of look like that. But there's not like, there's not, I mean, there is, I don't know that there's really like racism in that like, oh, black people are not like okay, or white people are, whatever. It's more like cultural things that like, that group of people is different, but it's not necessarily how they look, but more of a different culture. And he kind of tried to examine culture differently than like racism. But one of the things that this show has done is they've made, there's a lot more people of color than have been ascribed to what these characters look like. Now, there is a basis for having Nynaeve be a black woman because she's described as darker and having dark hair and braids, and those that makes sense too. The people of the Two Rivers being and this being a world that has gone through having the path of the world has kind of turned into this. Now there's been like 4,000 years or 3,000 years since the big apocalypse, and so things have also changed, and there are certainly groups that kind of look one way. For instance, you'll find out about them in the show, but I'm really excited about it, and I look forward to watching the show and hope it's really good and hope you all enjoy it. I really enjoyed rereading The Eye of the World. Honestly, it's not one of my favorite of the books, but it is enjoyable. it's just like, I'm also like, oh, they don't know about that yet. Oh, they don't. Or like, they learn so much that it's like going back to this point is kind of like, oh. And it's also like, there's some of it where you can tell like the author hasn't fully decided all of the stuff yet that he solidifies later on. And so that's interesting too. But I really enjoy The Eye of the World. I'm looking forward to watching The Wheel of Time on Amazon, and I hope you all will give that a check out as well. So that's the end of everything here, and I will be getting this uploaded. Hopefully I get up this weekend, and so you all will get a chance to see this. And I'm glad I'm not an hour and a half. So hope you all have a great one. Enjoy your stitching. Bye.